Hey kids, we just got done talking about the intro to industrialism. This is Industrialism 2, and we are going to continue that talk about natural resources and how industrialism got started. So right here we're looking at a map with places and cities where a lot of our natural resources came from. So if you look at the purple and the orange along the Appalachian Mountains, that's where our coal mining and iron ore mining is located. And then you can see those major cities along there where we have a lot of steel. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are known for making steel. That is where Carnegie built a lot of his steel mills. And then over here in Cleveland, that is where Rockefeller had his oil refineries. Sorry, let me go back one. All right, so if you look here, this is where a lot of our oil refineries are today. And you can notice many of them are along coastal regions or along anywhere where there's water. So whether it be a large lake or a river, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are near those sources. This is a decent video here. What it does is it explains how oil is refined, how that refining process works. I can use this picture to kind of explain it, but you can listen to this guy talk about this. So basically, if you look here, you have the oil that is being refined. It is burning basically at different temperatures. And when it cools at different temperatures, you get a different type of product, or what we call a byproduct of petroleum. So if you look along the side here at the pictures and the words here, it tells you kind of what is at different degrees and at different levels there. This is a very similar video. It's just not such an annoying voice. So I would open up my website and watch both of these so you guys can get a little bit more knowledge on that subject. All right, what we have is a lot of things that come from oil. So first off, it was 1906 when we had the internal combustion engine and oil started being refined for gasoline. So the auto industry takes oil to a whole new level. And the interesting thing is that oil was needed for kerosene, and then kerosene became obsolete. So just like the steel industry, and the steel industry needed to make buildings out of steel rather than railroads out of steel, the oil industry needed gasoline because kerosene was obsolete because of electricity. So those two industries are pretty similar in that way. Asphalt, and then there's a lot of things today. You guys can see all that stuff down there at the bottom. Almost anything made out of plastic plus all this stuff has some type of byproduct of petroleum. The modern history of oil, if you look at these dates here, obviously this is in the 1800s. Oil started being produced in about the 1850s, and then you can see here in 1859, we've talked about Titusville in the last video, and then 1906 was when the demand for gasoline skyrocketed, which means we had to produce even more oil. If you take a look at this video, or I'm sorry, this slide here, this shows you what types of things, how much comes from basically a barrel of oil. So if you were to look online right now, the price per barrel is probably dropping, and that's due to what's happening with the coronavirus. And not a lot of people are not traveling right now, so the price is dropping because the demand for it is dropping. And we've talked about supply and demand and those types of things. So you can see if this was 42 or 48 gallons, about half of that, just under half of that, goes to gasoline if there's a lot of vehicles out there around the world that are using those. So you guys can take a look at that. Pretty interesting to take a look and see what's happening. Here is by year. So when you look at this early stuff and then you look to see how much we're producing now, it's pretty astonishing how much oil we are actually producing in the world today. So in the world today, we're producing about 1,000 barrels per second, when in 1859 in America, we produced 2,000 barrels total in that year. And then kerosene became extremely popular, and we started producing, within 10 years, we were to millions of barrels. That's crazy. We were to millions of barrels just within 10 years. And then by 1906, you can see that jumps up again because of the internal combustion engine. It says here,